I would like to thank the organisers for the invitation to speak today at this Health and Care Research Wales conference. I'll be jointly presenting with Christopher Cotterill-Jones, who joined the Trust as Research Delivery Manager at the end of 2019. Before we begin the presentation, I would like to say how very proud I am to be part of NHS Wales at this time and to acknowledge that Velindre University NHS Trust faced very different challenges to those of the university health boards during the height of the pandemic. This is the content of our presentation. We are all acutely aware of the impact of COVID-19 globally, with the first Welsh COVID-19 patient seen in February. If cancer patients are infected with COVID-19, they are likely to need greater ventilator support and can have increased mortality rates. Delays in screening and treatment can be devastating, reducing valuable time cancer patients have left with their families. Cancer screening effectively stopped in March, and by June, Cancer Research UK estimated over 2 million people are waiting for cancer screening tests and treatments. For every week screening is paused, 7,000 people are not referred for further tests, and 380 cancers are not being diagnosed. Despite guidelines to continue urgent and essential cancer treatments, Cancer Research UK reports that 12,750 people are awaiting cancer surgery, 6,000 fewer people are receiving chemotherapy, and 2,800 fewer people are receiving radiotherapy. Also, in responding to COVID-19 and with treatment pathways being changed, some cancer patients will have received suboptimal or delayed care. The pandemic has disrupted cancer research and its effects are still unknown. We have all seen staff being redeployed to manage COVID-19 patients or COVID-19 research. Most non-COVID research has been paused and travel restrictions have stopped visits to sites. This pause in research has reduced cancer patient treatment options and has potentially threatened longer-term treatment developments. Having developed business continuity plans and having contacted sponsors to confirm their study management arrangements, Velindre took action to halt screening and recruitment activities for all hosted research. We only opened prioritised COVID-19 research and studies that provided patient benefit or reduced burden on clinical services. We also issued guidance to sites across the UK responsible for the delivery of the Trust-sponsored research portfolio. In mid-March, the Trust's Gold Command approved the Business Continuity Plan for Research as a living document to be reviewed regularly in line with COVID-19 development and the Trust's response to it.
As well as developing continuity plans for managing the Trust's research portfolio, we also agreed with the Executive Director for Nursing those staff required to support the research portfolio and those that may be redeployed to support urgent and essential cancer treatments. We had all our research nurses update themselves on key clinical skills to work in areas beyond their usual scope of practice. We had to relocate our clinical research treatment unit to allow the Trust to repurpose the space to triage cancer patients coming into the cancer centre whilst maintaining COVID-19 protocols. We also prioritised the setting up of COVID-19 studies that the Trust could host and continued to work in setting up studies as far as possible so that they could be initiated as lockdown began to ease. After Boris Johnson's Pass the Peak announcement at the end of April, Velindre began planning activities to reactivate our study portfolio. A set of key principles were developed and agreed to prioritise the reactivation of the studies. These were based on patient benefit where life may be extended, patient risk where not receiving treatment could be harmful, the remaining time until the planned end date, and the safety of employees from possible COVID-19 exposure. A week after reviewing the data collated for prioritising studies for the reactivation, the NIHR published their restart framework. Having cross-referenced the restart framework with our reactivation programme, we were pleased to see that no modification was required to the programme. After having cancer disease site consultant leads confirm the prioritisation, the reactivation programme was finally confirmed on the 19th of June. In rolling out the reactivation programme, it was important we took a risk-adapted approach, especially as although the Trust wanted to reactivate studies swiftly, it may not have been possible to reactivate them all at the time we planned to. This meant we had to consider the sponsor requirements for reactivation, as some sponsors were not in a position to reactivate their studies or were considering if they were to reactivate them at all. If the Trust had all internal resources available, taking into account the departmental business continuity and recovery strategies, and the availability of resources and services from external organisations that may have been disrupted by COVID-19. The reactivation of research studies happened in 3 cohorts with a 3-week interval between each cohort. This slide shows our research portfolio studies open or in setup prior to the COVID-19 pause, as well as the number of studies that continue to recruit, being identified as being beneficial to patients or reduce clinical service burden, the urgent public health and other COVID-19 studies, the studies reactivated by cohort, and those studies where reactivation is still to be confirmed.
In summary, Velindre University NHS Trust was able to stay ahead of the curve by being both agile and adaptable to meet our patients' needs, maintaining pivotal links and communication with those organisations that provide services in support of our research studies, and by regular communication with our sponsor organisations to ensure that Velindre continues to deliver excellent cancer research in what is the new normal. I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you to all organisations that continue to support cancer research delivery in Wales. The following references have been used in preparing this presentation.